حياتنا بمسرور فتية عظيم شأنها بين البرية.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new episode of Beacon of Guidance. This series is a compilation of questions and answers given by our beloved Hazur, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah be his helper. The questions are from various virtual mulaqats and compiled letters from MDs all over the world. Let's now turn to Germany for our first question. On the 31st of October 2021, beloved Hazur blessed the Lajna students with a virtual mulaqat in Urdu, where His Holiness was asked, "What is Hazur's guidance regarding those who mention the moral weaknesses of others?" Let's take a look.
बात यह है, आंसर ने फरमाया कि इन्नमल अमालु बिन्नियात, कि अमाल का दारोमदार नीयतों पर है. अगर एक लड़का या लड़की, मर्द या औरत किसी की दिल शिकनी का बायस बनते हैं और उनकी नीयत ये नहीं कि दिल शिकनी उसकी हो, बल्कि वो एक अमूमी बात कर रहे होते हैं, बात बुराइयों का जिक्र करते हैं, इत्तेफाक से वो बुराई उस शख्स में या उस लड़की में, उस लड़के में मौजूद है. वो समझती है मुझे मेरी इस बुराई को उजागर करने के लिए, हाईलाइट करने के लिए, निशानदेही करने के लिए मेरे पे टॉन्ट किया गया है. और उसकी वजह से अगर वो ओहदेदार है, उसने तकरीर में लजना की सदर ने या लजना की किसी ओहदेदार ने अपनी तकरीर में, अपने इजलास में ऐसी कोई हदीस पढ़ दी और उसके ऊपर एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, तो वो जो ऐसी लड़कियां या औरतें हैं लजना में जिनमें वो बुराइयां पाई जाती हैं, तो वो कहेंगी देखो हमारे ऊपर डायरेक्ट उन्होंने तंज किया इसलिए हम आएंगे नहीं. तो ये चीज़ गलत है. कहने वाले की नीयत ये नहीं थी. अगर कहने वाले की नीयत बद हो तो अल्लाह ताला उसके बाद जो है उसकी बद नीयत का उसको सज़ा देता है या पकड़ेगा, जो भी अल्लाह ताला का तरीक़ होगा, या माफ़ करेगा, जो भी है. लेकिन जो जिसने सुना है उसको बज़नी नहीं करनी चाहिए. ये भी बज़नी, और बज़नी सबसे बड़ा गुनाह है. ये क्यों दिल में ख्याल आया कि इसने सिर्फ मेरे लिए कहा है. हाँ, अगर पॉइंट आउट करके नाम लेके और पक्की बात साबित हो जाए कि हाँ इसी को कहा है, तब भी इंसान को चाहिए, इंसान गलतियों का पुतला है, कि हाँ अगर मेरे में ये गलती है तो मैं उसको दूर करने की कोशिश करूँ. अगर मेरे बारे में डायरेक्टली भी कहा गया है और मेरे में अगर ये गलती है तो मैं उसको दूर करूं, ना कि दीन से हट जाऊं. दीन को समझा या जाना, या एक अहमदी ने अहमदियत कबूल की या अहमदियत पर कायम है या इस्लाम पे कायम है, तो वो उस ओहदेदार की वजह से या औरत की वजह से या मर्द की वजह से नहीं कायम. दीन है दिल का मामला. अल्लाह ताला ने फरमाया तुम्हारा दीन जो है वो तुम्हारे दिल का मामला है. तो अपने और दीन को दुनिया पे मुकद्दम रखना चाहिए. ये भी हम ऐद करते हैं. यही हमें हज़रत मसीह मौद अलैहिस्सलाम ने सिखाया आके. तो अगर हमारे दिल का मामला है, दीन को दुनिया पे मुकद्दम रखना है, तो फिर इन दुनियावी बातों को सुन के या किसी इजलास में किसी ओहदेदार को सुन के, अगर वो दुनियादार भी है, वही ओहदेदार या कहने वाला ख़ुद जिस बात को कह रहा है वो बुराई उसमें भी मौजूद है, तो तब भी उसका गुनाह उसके सर है. लेकिन अगर सुनने वाला उसकी वजह से दीन को छोड़ता है या जमात से पीछे हटता है या इजलासों से दूर हट जाता है, तो वो एक ख़ुद भी गुनाहगार बन जाता है. जो कहने वाला वो तो गुनाहगार बना ही, लेकिन सुनने वाला दीन से हट के अपने आप को भी गुनाहगार बना लेता है. इसलिए वुसअत हौसला होनी चाहिए, सुनने का हौसला होना चाहिए. इसलिए कहते हैं कि अपने दिलों को वसी करो, वुसअत पैदा करो. अपने इंसान अपना जायज़ा ले, अपने नफ्स का इंसान ख़ुद जायज़ा ले. अगर इंसान एक सही मोमिन है, सही मोमना है, ईमान मजबूत है, तो वो हर वक्त अपने नफ्स का ख़ुद जायज़ा लेता रहता है. क्या मेरे अंदर कौन कौन सी बुराइयाँ हैं, क्या ये बुराई मेरे अंदर है, क्या ये बुराई मेरे अंदर है, अगर है तो मैंने इसको दूर करना है और किस तरह दूर करना है. और अगर कोई मुझे तवज्जो दिला दे तो मैंने उसको दूर करने की कोशिश करनी है. और अगर कोई नाम लेके किसी की मजलिस में बुराई करता है तो वो मुनासिब नहीं है. उस ओहदेदार को तो उससे जो बड़ा ओहदेदार है उसके ज़रिए से तवज्जो दिलवानी चाहिए कि इसने इस तरह की हरकत की है. किसी को मजलिस में डिस्ग्रेस करना, बेइज्जत करना जायज़ नहीं है, नाम लेके कहना. लेकिन एक जनरल बात गलतियों की तरफ निशानदेही कर देना, इसमें कोई हर्ज नहीं है, इसी से बुराइयां दूर होती हैं। अब मैं अपने खुतबात में बहुत सारी बातें कहता हूँ, तो जो पूरी जमात में मुझे पता है कि ये बुराइयां पाई जाती हैं, तभी मैं उनको एक जनरल सूरत में बयान कर देता हूँ। तो क्या सारी जमात नाराज़ होकर जमात छोड़ देगी अब? हैं? नहीं ना छोड़ेगी।
नहीं हुजूर, नहीं।
इसी तरह ओहदेदारात हैं, उनको एक तो ये है कि नाम नहीं लेना चाहिए, और अगर नाम लिए बगैर एक जनरल बुराई देख के अपने माहौल को साफ़ करने के लिए वो बात करती हैं, तो सुनने वाले को वुसअत हौसला दिखाते हुए अपनी इस्लाह करनी चाहिए। लेकिन सबसे अहम बात यह भी है कि जो कहने वाला है वो ख़ुद अपने नफ्स को भी देखे, क्या उसका नफ्स इन बुराइयों से पाक है, क्या उसमें ये बुराई नहीं है। क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला ने यही फरमाया है कि वह ऐसी बात ना कहो जो तुम खुद करते नहीं, क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला के नज़दीक ये बहुत बड़ा गुनाह है कि जो तुम खुद नहीं कहते दूसरों को कहो। ठीक, तो दोनों तरफ का असूल देखना पड़ेगा। कहने वाला भी नेक नीयती से बात करे और अपने नफ्स का जायज़ा लेके बात करे और इस्लाह की खातिर बात करे, ना कि किसी को तकलीफ़ पहुंचाने के लिए। और सुनने वाला वुसअत हौसला से काम ले, और अगर उसमें बुराई है तो इस्लाह की कोशिश करे, और अगर उस बुराई का ख्याल भी कभी आया तो तब भी इस्लाह की कोशिश करे, और अगर नहीं है तो हमेशा ये अहद करे फिर कि मैं ऐसी बुराइयों से बचूंगी।
For our second question, beloved Hazur graced a virtual mulaqat with Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyah from Singapore on the 19th of December 2021. A khadim asked, how can a Muslim free their heart from hatred? Let's take a look.
How can a Muslim free their heart from hate? Jazakumullah.
You see, we are the followers of the Prophet, who is the last of the prophets, and whose heart was free of all such type of evils and bad things and hatred. Even Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad has come in this age as a subordinate prophet of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And he said, I have come in this age to bring mankind closer to their Creator, and secondly, to make them realize their duties towards their fellow beings. So he says that we cannot discharge these duties until and unless our hearts are pure. And there should not be any enmity, animosity, jealousy in our hearts. And if that be the case, then we can discharge our duties towards each other. Right? For that even, yes, you are right, this target we cannot achieve on our own. We have to seek Allah's help, right, for this. And for that you pray to Allah Ta'ala in your 5-time daily prayers. Allah Ta'ala purifies your heart and remove all the hatred from your heart for any person, right? And then this is why Hazrat Mirza says that try to achieve this habit of forgiveness, right? And there should not be any hatred in your heart for any person. We say istighfar for it. Always say istighfar, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and then pray in your 5 daily prayers that Allah Ta'ala remove all type of evil things and hatred from your heart for any other person.
For our third question, we'll turn to the United Kingdom. On the 4th of September 2021, students from Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya UK were blessed with a virtual mulaqat with beloved Hazur. One of the students asked, how can one improve their spiritual advancement? Let's listen to the response.
My question is, I constantly pray for my spiritual advancement, but the next day I don't feel any progress. Can you guide me on how I can improve myself?
You see, it is not necessary that you immediately get the result of it. There was a saint who used to pray for something every day and he was just fervently praying for that. He had such a close relation with Allah Ta'ala that every day he will receive the answer of Allah Ta'ala that no, your prayers are not accepted. One day, one of his companion or follower was present, and in his presence, when the saint was praying, the same answer came from Allah Ta'ala. And that answer was also heard by the companion. Then the companion said that if Allah Ta'ala says that I am not going to accept your prayer, why are you praying? Then leave it. The saint said that I have been praying for last 30 years and I receive this answer daily. Still, I am doing it. And I will keep on doing it until and unless Allah Ta'ala accepts it. Where should I go then? Then immediately the voice came, and it was heard by the companion as well, that all your prayers you offered during last 30 years have been accepted because of this one sentence. So you should not try to make haste. If you are praying to Allah Ta'ala for your spiritual advancement, then you also check that whether you are following the commandments of Allah. Allah Ta'ala says that you have to be firm in your faith in the Holy Quran. When you are firm in your faith, then when you are praying, I will accept your prayers. Right? And I will increase your status, spiritual status. You will have to pray in your 5 daily prayers, and if possible in congregation, and pray fervently, offer nawafil, and then follow the teaching of the Holy Quran, as I have already said. Not that you just in a light mood you offer your prayer and then say Allah Ta'ala, oh Allah Ta'ala, increase my spiritual status, and then Allah Ta'ala will say, okay, now I'm going to make you a saint. No, you cannot be a saint in one night. Yeah? It's a continuous process. Jahadu fina. Allah Ta'ala says, you have to strive hard, struggle hard in my way. Then I will give you this status. So you keep on doing it. One day you will get the answer from Allah Ta'ala that now He has increased your spiritual status. We don't have any other way to go. Right? So keep on doing it. One day you will succeed. Never give up.
It's now time for question number 4. On the 28th of August 2021, Hazrat Khalifah V, Ayyadallahu Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, presided over a virtual mulaqat with the Lajna Imaila from the USA. One of the members asked how they should keep young Ahmadis attached to their faith and religion. Let's listen to Hazur's response.
Allah Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran that your job is just to keep on reminding the people and advising them, and pray for them as well. Not that after some time you try to give up. No, we are not going to give up. Since they claim themselves to be an Ahmadi, and they do not want themselves to be removed from the Jemaat, then it is our duty to use each and every mayor to bring them to the fold of Ahmadiyyat in a way which has been prescribed in our literature, and most importantly in the Holy Quran. So tell them that these are the injunctions and commandments. You see, Quran says you wear modest dress. This is the Quranic injunction. Quran says you do hijab and do parda. That is Quranic injunction. Not that the Ahmadiyya movement in Islam is only practicing it and imposing it. No. This is the Quranic commandment. And there are so many others. Doing tilawat, offering 5 daily prayers. So these are the things which you have to make them realize. So keep on doing it gently, with love, with care, And they should also realize that you are their sympathizers. Whatever you are doing is for their betterment. You are trying to save them from the wrongs of this society. See? So once they realize it, then they will one day follow you. And pray for them as well. Yes, of course, we have to pray. But you say that after some time, after advising them once or twice or 3 times or 4 times, you leave it or give it up? No. You have to be very much persuasive. Try to be persuasive. That is your job. And that is the commandment given in the Holy Quran. Inna ma anta muzakkir. That is the injunction given to the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Keep on advising them. Keep on admonishing them. Try to explain to them the good teachings of Islam. And this is your job. Right? Right. If your Amla members at the national level, at the regional level, as I already said, and the local levels are active and following your programs and plans, then this means you have achieved 50% or more of your target. So try to see to it that your Amla members are following your plans or not. If they set their good examples, then the members will also follow them. Right? We have to set our own example, then we can hope for the better results.
For the 5th question, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr Aziz, blessed a virtual mulaqat in Urdu on the 14th of August 2021 with Majlis Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya, Denmark. One of the members asked whether there is a need for governments to enact blasphemy laws in Western countries. Let's listen to the response.
کیا دنیاوی حکومتوں کو بعض بلیسفمی لاز رکھنے چاہیے، مثلاً قرآن کریم کو جلانے سے روکنے کے لیے وغیرہ؟
اس کا سوال نہیں ہے کہ بلاسفیمی لا رکھنا ہے کہ نہیں رکھنا. اللہ تعالیٰ اپنے جو مقدس چیزیں ہیں، انبیاء ہیں یا کتاب ہے، اس کی عزت اس نے اللہ تعالیٰ نے قائم کرنی ہے، وہ تو کرتا رہے گا. لوگوں کے قانونوں سے کچھ نہیں فرقتا. لیکن جو اصل چیز جو بتانے والی ہے ان لوگوں کو، وہ یہ نہیں ہے، ان کو یہ کہنا ہے کہ تم لوگ کہتے ہو کہ ہمیں لوگوں کے جذبات کا خیال رکھنا چاہیے، اور ہر طبقے کے جذبات کے خیال کے لیے تم قانون پاس کرتے ہو، اور پھر کہتے ہو یہ آزادی ہے، اظہار ہے کہ ہر ایک کو اپنے جذبات کا اظہار کرنے کی آزادی ہونی چاہیے. یہ آزادی ہے، اظہار ہے. جب آزادی ہے تو پھر یہ اس بات کا بھی تم لوگوں کو خیال رکھنا چاہیے کہ جذبات کسی کے جو مجروح ہوتے ہیں تو وہاں آزادی کی لمٹ لگاؤ. آزادی تو میں یہ نہیں کہتی کہ تم لوگوں کی جیبوں سے پیسے نکالنے شروع کر دو، جیب کترے بن جاؤ. آزادی یہ نہیں کہتی کہ لوگوں کے اندر گھروں کو توڑ کے بریک ان کر کے جاؤ اور چوری کر کے ڈاکے ڈال کے ان کا مال لوٹ لو. یہ آزادی تو نہیں نا کہتی. قانون پکڑتا ہے نا. اسی طرح بلاسفیمی لا کی سزا دو یا نہ دو، لیکن یہ کم از کم پابند کریں ہر شہری امن قائم کرنے کے لیے اپنے ملک میں کہ ہم نے ہر ایک کے دوسرے کے جذبات کا خیال رکھنا ہے. اور جب جذبات کا خیال رکھیں گے تو وہاں خود بخود ایک امن کی فضا قائم ہو جائے گی. اور جب امن کی فضا قائم ہو جائے گی، بھائی چارے کی فضا قائم ہو جائے گی، تو پھر دوسرے کے جذبات سے کوئی کھیلے گا نہیں. اصل چیز یہ ہے جو بتانے والی ہے. باقی بلاسفیمی لا تو اللہ تعالیٰ نے تو کوئی سزا نہیں دی، لیکن اللہ تعالیٰ یہ کہتا ہے کہ تم لوگ بھائی بھائی بن کے رہو. ابھی تم نے تلاوت بھی کی. اور ایک دوسرے کے جذبات کا خیال رکھو. ٹھیک ہے. اس قانون پہ اگر عمل کر لیں گے تو سارے مسائل حل ہو جائیں گے. اس قانون پہ اگر عمل کر لیں گے کہ ہمارا کام صرف حق لینا نہیں بلکہ حق دینا بھی ہے دوسرے کو، اگر یہ ہر شہری کو پتہ لگ جائے تو پھر یہ اصل چیز ہے جو مذہب سکھاتا ہے ہمیں. ٹھیک ہے. بہت سارے حقوق میں نے پچھلے سال 2019 کے جلسے میں بیان کیے، کیا حقوق ہیں، کچھ اب کیے. ان اگر حقوق کا خیال رکھا جائے تو فتنہ اور فساد پیدا ہی نہیں ہوتا. وہاں ضرورت ہی نہیں پڑتی کہ بلاسفیمی لا کو इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाए कि ना किया जाए, ठीक है, या कोई चीज़ है भी नहीं। असल चीज़ तो ये है कि हम एक दूसरे के जज्बात का ख्याल रखें, इस बात को रियलाइज़ कर लें और इसकी हकीकत को पहुंच जाएं और इसकी गहराई को पहुंच के इसके ऊपर अमल करवाने लग जाएं, तो मसाइल सारे हल हो जाते हैं, मोहब्बत प्यार और भाईचारा कायम हो जाता है। और जब ये कायम हो जाएगा तो कोई दूसरे के जज्बात से खेलेगा ही नहीं, चाहे वो मजहबी जज्बात हैं या ज़ाती जज्बात हैं।
We'll now start the second segment of the program. In this segment, we'll be taking a look at questions and answers which have been taken from an article in Al-Hakam called Answers to Everyday Issues, which is guidance that Hazrat the Middle Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, has given on various occasions in his written responses and during MTA programs. For our first letter, the Nazim of Darul Iftar in Rabwa submitted a report to Hazrat the Middle Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, about offering water and other things to the participants of Shia mourning, Mattam processions, by way of serving humanity. While commenting on the report, Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, in a letter dated the 22nd of November 2020, stated,
In my opinion, the instructions of the promised Messiah alayhi salam and Hazrat Mirza Masroor radiallahu anhu are very clear in this regard, according to which designating a specific day and time for this kind of activity is an innovation, bid'ah. However, if an Ahmadi or one of the Jamaats worked for the welfare of the people all year round in the spirit of serving people and set up these kinds of stalls for peaceful processions of different religions and organizations throughout the year by way of serving humanity, then there would be no issue with setting up such a stall for the morning procession of the Shias. However, if this is done exclusively for the morning processions of Shias and no other such stalls are set up throughout the year, then it is definitely a bid'ah, and Ahmadi should avoid such innovations completely. The instruction of the promised Messiah alayhi salam is as follows. Hazrat Qazi Zahuruddin Akmal radiallahu anhu asked, what is the promised Messiah's instruction regarding the free distribution of sweetened drinks and cooked rice, etc. on the 10th of Muharram, if it is done for the sake of Allah and with the intent of Isal Thawab, reward to be received by the deceased? The promised Messiah alayhi salam replied, designating a day and time for such deeds is a ritual and an innovation, bid'ah, and such rituals gradually lead to shirk. Thus, it should be avoided, because such rituals do not end well. It may have been done in the beginning with this intention, but now it has taken the hue of shirk, and the name of those other than Allah. Hence, we declare it impermissible. Unless such rituals are eradicated, false beliefs will not go away. The instruction of Hazrat Mirza Masroor radiallahu anhu is as follows. Someone said that Sunnis cooked and distributed among themselves certain kinds of food, etc. on the days of Muharram. They asked what Hazur's instruction was about this. Hazrat Mirza Masroor radiallahu anhu replied, these are also innovations, bid'at, and consuming those is also not right. If one does not stop consuming it, then why would they stop preparing? Consuming the food given upon the 12th day of a person's death, Barwe, is not correct, and Gyarwe, 11th day, is nothing but unadulterated shirk. It is mentioned in the Holy Quran, وَمَا أُهِلَّ بِهِ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ, and that on which the name of any other than Allah has been invoked. These actions also fall under it because such people raise animals in the name of their Pir Sahib.
For the second letter, a lady sent 2 ahadith to Hazrat the Middle Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala, regarding conjugal rights and responsibilities of husband and wife, and inquired whether the 2 ahadith also applied to a husband. Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, in his letter dated the 22nd of November 2020, gave the following reply to this question.
The first hadith states that when a husband calls his wife to bed and she refuses out of some dissatisfaction, the angels curse her all night long. Remember that this hadith applies not only to the wife, but in the opposite scenario also to the husband. If there is one aspect that can be deduced from this hadith, It is that the Holy Prophet ﷺ cautioned married women against refusing without any legitimate excuse on account of the men's impatience regarding their sexual appetite. Otherwise, just as the wife is obliged to fulfill the sexual needs of the husband along with his other rights, the husband is also obliged to fulfill her sexual rights along with the other needs. Therefore, if a husband does not pay his wife's conjugal dues upon her request, without any compelling reason, then he too will be liable before Allah in the same way as the wife, who incurs the displeasure of Allah the Exalted by refusing to satisfy her husband's sexual desire without any legitimate excuses. It is narrated by Hazrat Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu that once the wife of Hazrat Usman ibn Maz'un radiallahu anhu came to the wives of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The respected wives, upon seeing her plight, asked what had happened to her, for there was no one in the Quraysh wealthier than her husband. She replied, "I have no use for all that, because my husband spends the day fasting and the night praying." Later, when the Holy Prophet ﷺ visited his wives, they mentioned this to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. The narrator says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ met with Hazrat Usman bin Mad'un radiallahu anh, and while expressing his displeasure, said to him, "Am I not an example for you?" Upon this, Hazrat Uthman ibn Mad'un radiallahu anhu asked, "May my mother and father be sacrificed for you. What is the matter?" The Holy Prophet ﷺ replied, "You spend the night praying and the day fasting, whereas your family also has a right over you, and your body has a right over you. Therefore, offer prayers, but also sleep, and sometimes fast, and sometimes do not fast." The narrator says that after some time, when the same woman came to the wives of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, she was wearing fragrance and was adorned like brides. The respected wives expressed their delight upon seeing her and exclaimed, "Excellent, how charming." She told them, "Now I also have everything that other people have." Moreover, with reference to the above-mentioned hadith, it should also be kept in mind that in the case that the refusal of this act is due to a valid excuse or a compelling reason, neither party would be subject to the displeasure of Allah the Exalted. Hence, it is mentioned in a hadith that when the Holy Prophet ﷺ went to the Battle of Tabuk, a companion who had gone out on a journey returned to Medina after the Holy Prophet ﷺ had already left. He turned to his wife to show affection to her, but she pushed him back, saying, "You should be ashamed of yourself, for the Holy Prophet ﷺ has gone out to war against the enemy in such intense heat, and all you want to do is to make love to me and go in unto me." Therefore, if a party refused due to a valid excuse or a compelling reason, they would not be liable to any punishment. However, if a husband or a wife comes close to their spouse, arouses their feelings, and then moves away from them in order to tease them, then surely the one who does so will be subject to the displeasure of Allah the Exalted. As far as the hadith regarding a married woman observing voluntary fasting with the consent of her husband during his presence at home is concerned, the wisdom behind it is that Islam has taken care of the rights and responsibilities of the husband and wife in every sphere. Therefore, in the division of the rights and responsibilities of the spouses, all the responsibilities related to outside the home and the provision of food and financial support for the wife and children, etc., have been entrusted to the husband by Allah the Exalted, and the domestic responsibilities, including the protection of household property, providing for the needs of the husband, and raising of the children, etc., is entrusted to the wife by Allah the Exalted. So, when the husband goes out of the house to perform his duties, the wife has total leave to perform supererogatory worship, along with the performance of her household duties. However, if the wife desires a leave from fulfilling the rights of the husband during his presence at home, then she should do so by his consent, since the provision of his needs is included among the duties of the wife. The wisdom behind this commandment becomes fully evident from an incident mentioned in the following hadith. Hazrat Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu narrates that the wife of Hazrat Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal radiallahu anhu, who used to work on the fields all night and spend the day at home, complained to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, my husband makes me break my fast when I am observing voluntary fasting. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked Hazrat Safwan radiallahu anhu about it. He replied, when she fasts, she keeps on fasting. Since I am a young man, I cannot restrain myself. The narrator states that the Holy Prophet ﷺ announced on that day that a woman should not observe voluntary fast except with the consent of her husband. In short, Islamic teachings urge husbands and wives to fulfill all of each other's rights, including those related to the sexual relationship, with utmost honesty. Neither party has been allowed to usurp the rights of the other on the premise of worship. Therefore, the party who violates the rights of the other in any way will be considered guilty before Allah the Exalted.
And for our third and final letter, a lady wrote to Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen, Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, that they received food items from Hindus on Diwali, some of whom expressly informed them that the food was kept separate from puja, worship ritual performed by Hindus, but some simply gave a box and left without saying anything about it. She asked whether it was permissible to consume such food. Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, while replying to the above question in a letter dated the 13th of December 2020, provided the following guidance.
There is no harm in eating food which is prepared with halal ingredients, in clean dishes, following the principles of hygiene, and which does not have any aspect of shirk in it. It is also not desirable to probe such matters beyond reason. However, before eating such food, Bismillah should be recited so that if there is any deficiency in the food, it can be compensated by the blessing of the name of Allah the Exalted. Islam also forbids breaking anyone's heart unnecessarily merely due to suspicion. The promised Messiah ﷺ used to eat the food that came from Hindus, and also used to accept and eat the sweets etc. which were gifted by them. Hence, while replying to the question of a person on whether the food prepared by Hindus was permissible, he stated, "The Sharia has made it permissible. The Sharia does not insist on such restrictions. Rather, it pays emphasis on قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. He indeed truly prospers who purifies it." The Holy Prophet ﷺ would eat items prepared by Armenians, and in any case, one cannot do without it.
That concludes another episode of Beacon of Guidance. Join us again next time for more questions and answers with our beloved Hazur. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.